Once upon a time, in a faraway and beautiful village called Amogu, lived a very handsome prince called Isiguzo, but his family called him Guzo. The king and queen loved and pampered him so much because he was their only child. Prince Guzo carries himself so well that every girl in the village wishes to be married by him. Everyone liked him just because he's royalty. Prince Guzo is a very proud person. He looks down on people, but he mingles better with other royalties. One day, his friend visited him in the palace, and the palace maid told him to wait so she could fetch him. But the prince never honored his friend. His friend is called Emeka. Emeka is a very patient man. He overlooked Prince's excesses, and every time his mother would say to him, "I don't like that you always go out of your way for the prince, yet he treats you like you don't exist, especially when his other prince's friends are around. You run to the palace each time he calls, but when you visit the palace on your own, he doesn't even come out to see you or honor it. That is not nice, my son. Give yourself some respect and let the prince be." "Mama," Emeka replied, "we are not women. The prince is a good man, I promise you." There is a beautiful girl in the village named Chisom. Chisom is a very beautiful and sweet girl, loved by everyone. She is very cheerful and was always willing to help people with anything. Chisom is Prince Isiguzo's lover. Chisom's father is the king's best friend. They have been friends since their childhood, and they promise to keep their friendship by making their children marry. Outside their parents' friendship, Chisom and Guzo's love life haven't been the smoothest. He yells at her at every given chance. He calls her names and belittles her all the time, saying to her, "Do you realize I'm a prince? If not for me, I'm the reason you're the envy of all girls in this village. Every girl in this village wants me to marry them, but my parents chose you, and I did too." Chisom will cry to her mom and say, "Mama, the prince treats me like nothing. I am tired of all this. I don't think I want to marry the prince anymore." But her mom would encourage her and say, "Do not let your father hear this. Please overlook it. Even inside marriage, no one is perfect. So do not worry, my child. The prince will come around." Chisom goes to market on every Eke market day. So on that particular day, she went to the market as usual. And when she came back, she decided to go to the palace and see the prince. But on her way, she saw Prince Guzo playing around with one of the village maidens. As soon as the prince saw her, he didn't look bothered. He said, "My love, how did you know where to find me?" But Chisom angrily said, "I was on my way to the palace, but I can see how busy you are." She ran out crying. But the prince shrugged and continued what he was doing. Days passed. Chisom didn't hear from Prince Guzo. But now, she wasn't surprised anymore, because the prince had done this several times, and her parents will always tell her to go apologize to him. Finally, Chisom summoned courage to leave the prince. She went to the palace and requested his presence. When he came, he laughed. "Look who we have here, my wife-to-be. Have you finally come to your senses to know that I am a prince and I can get and marry as many women as I want?" But Chisom smiled and asked, "What of the king, your father? Does he have more than one queen?" This made Prince Guzo very angry, and he blurted, "Do not talk about my father because I am not my father. I am a prince, and a good-looking one at that. What have you come here for?" "I do not want to do this anymore," Chisom said. "I'd rather be by myself and be happy." But Prince Guzo uttered another laugh and said mockingly, "Which man can be compared to me, Chisom? Do you know what you're doing? You talk as if you will get someone like me. Girls are running after me, but I chose you, and you think you're worthy of me in the first place. Leave my sight at once before I have the guards throw you out." Chisom obeyed and left, but she felt a sigh of relief. Chisom went to Emeka's house to tell him what had happened. Emeka decided to talk to the prince and find out what really happened. Then the next day, Emeka went to the palace, and when he tried talking to Prince Guzo, he yelled at him and said, "What gives you the right to talk to me? What is the difference between you and my servants?" But Emeka was shocked and taken aback. "A prince like me sit down and listen to you? As what?" He quickly ordered the guards to throw him out. Emeka felt really humiliated and wondered why the prince would treat him in such manner. Emeka left, and from that day on, the prince never heard from him again. A year passed. The queen summoned her son, Prince Emeka, and told him that he needed to get married. "You know our lineage has to continue, my son. It is time to settle down. You and Chisom are no longer together. So find yourself a wife and settle down." But Prince said, "Mother, I haven't seen a girl that matches my standard. As a matter of fact, I have always wanted to marry a princess, not a commoner. It's only a princess that understands royalty and matches my standard." The mom smiled as she was pleased to hear this. She even encouraged him by saying, "See, I never liked that Chisom girl. I told your father, but he kept saying he wanted to maintain the stupid friendship he has with her father." Days later, the king, his father, tried talking to him about getting married. "Pick one of these maidens and marry," the king said. "Father, I cannot reduce my standards. No girl matches them here. These are all village champions, and I can't go that low. I want to marry a princess." This made his father very worried. He asked his wife, "Does our son not want to get married? Does he realize I'm getting old? He has practically rejected every girl that was brought to him. He keeps making excuses every day. And here you are, encouraging him. But the queen said, "My king, he said he wants to marry a princess, and I don't see anything wrong with it." One day, the king announced the arrival of his longtime friend, who was also a king in another kingdom. He came with his beautiful daughter to see the king, his friend. But while they were chatting, the prince couldn't take his eyes off her. "Finally, I get to marry a princess," he told himself while smiling. The king noticed this and said, "My son, why don't you take the princess around the palace and show her around?" While they were talking, the prince said to her, "Can I be your prince? Your lover. I really like you." But she smiled and kindly answered, "My prince, we are just seeing each other for the first time. We don't even know each other. I say we take time to do that," she said while smiling too. And the prince agreed. Weeks passed, and Prince Guzo and Princess kept seeing each other. The prince treats her like the princess, but she doesn't treat him well. One day, he tried to ask why she has been avoiding him, but she gave him a slap. "Do you know I am a princess and nobody dare questions me? I do what I like and I can get away with anything." But the prince knelt down and started begging her, "Please, I am sorry. Do not leave me." This kept going on, and every time he talks about coming with his people, she never agrees. "My prince, I haven't made up my mind. Don't worry, with time." The princess humbled Prince Guzo, but he kept holding on because he really wanted to marry a princess. One day, he thought to himself, "Is she really worth it? No girl has ever insulted me this way. I have rejected every girl that was brought to me. Isi Guzo, what have you done to yourself?" Well, that is not a problem. I can simply go back to one of them and they will agree. After all, I am a prince. The Prince of Amafo. Back to Chisom. One of her close friends got married and Chisom accompanied her to her husband's village. The prince of that village saw her and he didn't waste a second to talk to her. Weeks later, as they were seeing each other, he proposed marriage to her and she agreed. The Prince of Amafo made a very grand entrance to Chisom's village for the traditional rites. Before then, Chisom's father went to the palace to see the king, his friend, to invite him to Chisom's traditional marriage. When the prince heard this, he became unsettled. "Chisom is getting married to Prince Jidenna?" he asked himself. But this didn't sit well with him. So he went to see Chisom and went on his knees to beg her. But Chisom said to him, "I love Prince Jidenna a lot. He is the best thing that happened to me, and nothing would change that. You're in my past now. Please move on with your life." Then the next day, which was the traditional marriage, they were joined together and everyone rejoiced with them. Prince Guzo saw this and was very shattered. 5 years later, and Prince Isi Guzo found himself lonely and frustrated. He started regretting everything he had done. He went to see one of the girls he was playing around with while he was seeing Chisom and said to her, "Ify, I want to make you my wife." But Ify laughed and said, "Prince Guzo, I thought you said I was short. Anyways, I am getting married, so move on." This happened with other girls, Ada, Miriama, Njideka, Adobe, and Ifunanya. They all rejected him because he never treated them well, and they had all gotten over him and moved on with their lives. His father decided to invite some of the maidens of the village so he could select one of them, but nobody agreed to marry the prince. Years later, the prince was now 48 years old and was still unmarried. His father had died a sad man because his son didn't get married. His mother, the queen, who encouraged him, also lived to regret it. Prince Isiguzo remained a prince because he wasn't married and couldn't be crowned a king. This was how the great king's lineage died, and the villagers stayed without a king for many, many years. Prince Isiguzo also got very, very old and died a lonely man. The lesson to be learned from this story is that we should learn to treat people with kindness irrespective of their status. Never lose a good man or woman just because you think you're better than them. Love conquers all, as this story teaches us that we should always be with people that treat us well. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope you enjoyed my story. Tell us what you think of the story in the comment section. Give me a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Also share our video and see you on our next story. Bye!